Maybe. Welcome, everybody, to a Sunday night edition of Talking Iowa Hawkeye Sports. Man, I'm dark. What's going on?
What you got? You must have been out in the sun tanning or something.
No, I mean dark as in I'm not getting any light on my face. Take this off, see if that helps.
You look good.
Yeah. I had a compliment on my beard today at church.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, welcome. It's Talking Iowa Hawkeye Sports on a Sunday night edition. We're going to do a lot of football talk tonight. We're going to look at some of their upcoming schedule, a little bit of background about them things, and some other really interesting tidbits I found today that I kind of wanted to hit. But it's going to be mainly football. We'll have other little tidbits and news and recruiting and things like that. And I think, we didn't discuss this beforehand, what order we were going to go in. But I feel like this is a good place. We want to talk about a little bit of recruiting. You want to take that and run with that, Calvin?
Yes, I do. I got a couple other little news notes to toss in before I hit recruiting. As far as football recruiting, one thing was that they came out with the ratings of Miss Soybert, who's committed to Iowa. She'll be a senior next year in basketball, high school basketball. She come out about number 72 in the nation. She's a left-handed great shooter, great passer.
What is she ranked in Wisconsin?
For her class number, is it number one? Number one, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. The Riak girl, who's a grade behind her, is the best player in Wisconsin, but she's just going to be a junior next year. She's going to be a top 5 player, probably. They keep running videos of her in practice with the national team. She just dunks with ease, as a guard, 6'2" guard. And she just goes in and she's about the only girl you see that dunks with ease. A lot of them will squeeze dunks in or something, but she's ridiculous. Anyway,
I've actually never seen a woman dunk a ball before.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
I seen Miss McGahee, who went to Washington. She could barely dunk, that Iowa missed out on. But anyway, number 23 in the nation, which is a lot higher, is Cam Manyow's sister, Destiny. Haven't heard much about her lately. I've seen she's visited some other schools and stuff. I'm hoping that she loves Iowa. Because, boy, number 23 in the nation as a power forward, that's pretty darn good. And then Nation Williams is number 12 or 13. 13th I got written down. She's kind of she can play small forward or power forward, and she's just as tall as Manyow, maybe a little taller. But so those are the 3 girls I spotted out of them rankings that I know were interested. The Smith girl from California is supremely number 1 in the nation, but I have no clue. I know Iowa's interested in her, but I have no clue that she'll ever visit Iowa or anything. A lot of people think her and Nation Williams are both going to go to UCLA, but My buddy Dean thinks Nation's coming to Iowa, so got to go with that, right, Dean?
I got to go with that. I'm thinking.
You're
I'm
a Hawk
thinking.
fan.
Mama likes her. Mama sent Amari White to us, and so
Yeah.
and you know what? If Nation comes here, she's going to be playing a lot as a freshman. Where at UCLA, she will probably get limited minutes off the bench. So
I don't
just
know
my
about
theory.
that, bro. I don't know about that, Dean.
Well, UCLA is
Yeah.
just
And I will
it's like
mention that
UConn and in South Carolina, where they're just stacked for talent, top to bottom. They got everybody. He's a
yeah,
4 or
yeah,
5 star on that.
right now UCLA's roster's kind of thin because they lost everybody, but we'll see. I have no clue. I just want to point out that Nation Williams' mom is a famous UCLA alum. So,
Yeah,
and I
we
think
knew that. I know that. I know that.
and I think her dad is too. So, anyway, the first time I ever heard of Nation Williams, they were talking about both her dad and mom are stars at UCLA or something. Anyway, and then the next class, the two classes, let's see, and then the girls that are, juniors with Rioch, the number 1 or 2 player is Chloe Johnson from Minnesota, whose Iowa's been right in on ever since they offered her in the 7th grade. And I hope Chloe comes to Iowa. She'd be the highest rated recruit ever to come to Iowa. She's a point guard, and you cannot rattle her. She's not a small point guard either. I think she's 6 foot tall or something. She's just
So
a perfect ball player.
what do you think the odds are on getting her?
I think it'll be her, or she'll stay in Minnesota. Hopefully, she's not a UConner, but but I know she loved Lisa Bluter, and she's one of them. She's got kind of an OCD learning thing or something. Maybe she gets nervous real easy or something. So she'll want to go where she's comfortable. And then she's 1 or 2 in the country. I'd put her number 1, but they had her rated number 2. And then the number 11 in the country was the famous Jelani guy from Clinton, Iowa, who committed to Stanford halfway through her freshman year. Now she's going to be a junior, and now she's opened it back up. And of course, she has visited Iowa before, back when she was a 8th grader and a freshman. When Caitlin was playing, I don't know what her list will end up looking like. Some people don't like her dad, but I don't know why. Probably ain't even true, but whatever they say. But
is he one of those dads that?
Well, it was kind of famous. She played at Clinton. She was from Clinton in junior high. And then her freshman year, she come down here, and that was Journey Houston's senior year, and her parents enrolled her in Bettendorf. And she come down, and I think her parents expected her to just do whatever she wanted to do on the court. And the Bettendorf coaches weren't having that, that she was going to be coached. And one game, she actually left at halftime.
What?
She left at halftime and got on a plane or something and flew to LSU for a visit. That didn't go over real well.
Did the team know ahead of time that she was going to do that?
I don't know nothing about it, but and then some games I'd watch on TV and Bettendorf would be playing, and I wouldn't even see her. So I don't think she got along very good at Bettendorf, so she went back to Clinton. But enough about that. Let's see. One thing I wanted to mention, and Dean can chime in here, is we had the nicest post on our last YouTube video, our last podcast we put up. Some guy named James, and I wish I knew who he was. gave the longest thing, very complimentary of Dean's podcast, that you guys got to go audio. You got to do this, you got to do that. He was giving advice that, we'd have 10,000 views instead of 300 or 400 or something. And he's very nice. And at the end, he gave me the greatest compliment. It really meant a lot to me. And I'd like to know who he is. I hope he's listening tonight. I just want to thank him. He made it all worthwhile to me, because my goal when I got on with Dean was to just present the facts. I'll give an opinion, but I don't like to. And I don't like to I always hated it when people would make shit, put on there. And he gave me a big compliment.
Yeah. Let me explain how you ended up on this show. I mean, first of all, you came on as a guest when Tim Lester was hired, because I knew you loved Tim Lester, and I wanted you to.
Well, I didn't love him, but I wasn't going to be derogatory towards the guy that was just hired, But
yeah, no, but he was Kelvin was a regular commenter on the show, and he was always correcting us or helping us with stuff that we couldn't figure out. And so I just said, why don't you just come on the show? And so that way you don't have to type it out. You can just speak it. And at that time, Paul and Jason both were taking time off anyway. And
well, I know Jason made the comment one time to you, he said, just get Kelvin.
Yeah.
He get Kelvin on here. But I told you I wouldn't put up with, and I won't, people saying things that just, if they say something and I don't think it's true, I'll just say, well, I don't know about that. I don't know anything about that. But sometimes I have to blurt it out and say, that's bullshit. Quit that. Yeah. And that's my goal, is I want people to tune in because they know they're going to get information. Like James said, he said, I get it. The stuff Kelvin tells me is information that I can't get anywhere else. And I'm just a gatherer. People text me information that I know or know what they're talking about. And then I listen to every podcast, every source I can, and gather it all up and put it in a bundle.
Yeah, and just about all those media people that you like know who you are.
But
including a couple that you called out on their show.
Well, if I just try to put correct information up there, and sometimes people get mad at me, and I don't care. It don't matter to me. I don't have, I got a thick skin, so anyway.
Yeah. Toll House tonight. Yeah, let's move on. Toll House tonight has our first comment of the night, and he says that Iowa has yet to offer Destiny Manuel. They haven't offered her yet. He said maybe there's something going on behind the scenes.
I don't know about that. I know I know she visited.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I seen she took some other visits, like it might have been Oklahoma State or some of them schools more down her way and stuff. Probably home state. Isn't she from Missouri or something? Maybe she'll
something like that. Yeah.
Visit Kansas and Missouri and stuff like that. But I know Manuel, he commented himself, Cam. He said, "Well, I'm highly recommending Iowa because you can't, just the nicest people and a great place to spend time, you know." But I don't know what
said that information he got from 247. Okay. Okay, so yeah, and that's also too, which is strange, because people have asked us about Peyton Starwalt too, and she has Iowa on her top 10 list, but as far as I know, Iowa hasn't officially offered her.
No, it's just kind of that's just propaganda.
Yeah, she did pick up an offer from Murray State yesterday, though.
Yeah, well, maybe that'll be in her top 10 now. I don't know, but
yeah.
Anyway, I don't wish anything bad on her. She's just a very, very. She's a good shooter. But
Apparently, she can pass and stuff too.
She's just very small and very, what you would just say, not a strong player. That's my biggest worry about Jada Soybert. Jada Soybert is like way bigger. She's 6'1", whatever, point guard, off guard, can play both, and she's a very good ball handler. But I don't know how she would handle physical defense handling the ball. That's my only. I think that's why she's in the number 72 instead of number 40. Is because see what she does against stronger competition.
The one thing I do want to say though is if you can shoot the ball, it don't matter what level, whether it's high school, D2, D3.
Yeah. Well, D1. Like I told you, said that before, and I said, well, I should have been in the NBA then because I shot 75% from three. But
okay, the three line didn't exist when you were younger. When you were in high school, the 3 line didn't exist.
I know that, but they called me downtown Freddie Swisher, and I didn't have to come much past half court. If I was halfway between the half court and the top of the key, if it was a straight on shot, I'd take it. But anyway, I'm not in the NBA. I'm 5'9", and I couldn't guard myself.
Well, 5'9" isn't the shortest person ever to play in the NBA, though. You know that.
Muggsy Bogues was 5'3". Calvin Murphy was probably 5'8" or something. But do you want to get on to football recruiting? You wanted me to do, right?
Yeah, I want you to do football recruiting. Then we'll just move on to the rest of the football stuff I got.
It's been ridiculous. I think we're getting 2 commits. One guy has publicly said so. Do you have pictures you want to put up or anything, Dean, or not? Or
yeah, I do. I'm just trying to figure out which one of these is the one that I can't handle that. That one, no, that one's going to announce his commitment later. I think this is the one that's committed, right?
Yeah, a guy I never heard of until this morning. Darius Allen. He's from Dayton, Ohio. 6'5", 300-pound defensive lineman. They showed him on the basketball court today, dunking. And his best offer other than Iowa was Boston College and Buffalo. Buffalo's got a real good program, but where did he come from? I don't know if he camped at Iowa. Their camp just got over, and then he came on the official this weekend, and they offered him, and he committed. Boy, does he look good. I watched his tape. You talk about, he looks like Y.A. Black. He's a lot bigger than Y.A. Y.A., when he came out of high school, only weighed 250 pounds. He ended up weighing 350. This guy weighs 300. You can tell he's not some big fat guy. And I watched
the muscles on that arm. Look at the muscles on there. Yeah. Man, he's got some guns.
Good looking kid, from Dayton, Ohio. And he had 20-some tackles for loss last year. Ohio's a good high school football state. I don't know why people weren't all over him, unless he's at some down Dayton, Ohio. I don't know if it's an inner city school. I don't know nothing about it. But anyway, I watched his tape. You talk about an active, big guy. Holy smokes, quick. I just think, thank goodness, today. And I was knocked over. I thought, who is this guy? I follow recruiting so much, the phone just lit up. And I thought, what? And the more you look at him, go watch his tape, boys.
Yeah. I will tell you this. On3 said he was a surprise commitment because they didn't even know anything about him.
That's right. And the other guy, do you have the picture of Jonathan Harris and his measurables at camp?
Yeah. Okay. So this one's his measurables.
That was at camp this week. He come to camp. He's from Illinois. Jonathan Harris, a safety, 6'2", 175, if I remembered right. And he's not fast in track. I mean, his track times, he's even had track season already this year. Not very fast, but I watched his tape. He's very quick for short bursts, and he will knock you into next week. But anyway, look at that. Vertical jump was like, go back, Dean. The vertical jump there that they listed was it 43 inches or something? I'd like to see this 6'2" guy dunking the basketball. There it is. What does it say, Dean? 43 inches?
Yeah, vertical is. I don't understand. What's a vertical PR? He's 43. Another vertical PR, he's 42.
Well, he probably jumped twice, and he set a personal record the first time, and then he broke it the second time. That I've never heard of a football player at Iowa going that high. Cooper DeJean would get up, at 41, maybe at 42, but that's like ridiculous. And he's another kid. He doesn't even have the good offers that the defensive tackle had. If I remember right, it was Iowa, and it was a bunch of little schools.
So but what position is he being recruited at?
Safety.
He's
not fast enough to be a cornerback. But and then there's this. What I noticed on the film was how quick he was, and that's why they put up these 10-yard flies. They're 10-yard dashes or whatever, and that's really important, But this kid just knocks the heck out of you, and he's very quick. Adjustment to the ball in the air and stuff like that. And he's a guy I never heard of till yesterday. So, and I think he's committing. He pretty much said so, but he came to camp this week and he come back for his official. And I sent you a picture of him too, but you probably don't have it. It
was that him right there?
No, that's Lawrence Britt, who we're going to talk about on June 11th.
Okay, how did I not get the picture of him on here?
I don't know. Okay. But anyway, I sent you the picture of him, and then the next picture I sent was that picture of the big guy, 300 pounds, on Messenger. I said, use them two pictures. And then just before I come on, I got this announcement that it was going to be live on 247. I knew Lawrence Britt, who would be about the fastest wide receiver Iowa's ever had. He's a 4.3 40 guy. And he's a guy that I always thought he was going to Missouri. And it's on June 11th, which is Thursday, he's going to be live on 247, and they're going to carry the announcement. Missouri, Arkansas, Iowa, and Florida. Now, Iowa, he wasn't that interested in Iowa. And then his good friend, the quarterback, Santi Banez, they don't go to the same high school, but they probably camped together down in Tennessee. Santi Banez announced his commitment to Iowa, and the next day, this Britt kid got an offer from Iowa. So I think it was, Santi Banez is coming. I'm interested too. And he visited on the 2nd of June, I think it was, a few days ago. And his interview with On3, you quoted something on there. Do you remember what you quoted, Dean? I think he loved Kirk Ferentz or something.
Oh, yeah. This is the one where when he was visiting, he put his arms around him or something and said, come to Iowa and help us win a national championship.
Yeah. And he was quoted in there how genuine Kirk is and the Iowa coaches. And it was Mizzou was had the big prediction machine for Mizzou, which he just left his Missouri visit tonight. He went to Missouri after Iowa, but I wouldn't bet against Iowa. If he wants to play with that quarterback, And the other wide receiver that's visiting is Hawkeyes from Illinois. And those would be two wide receivers that would run 4.3 40s or better, which I don't think Iowa's ever had one on the team. You know, I've looked back through all the 40 times I have NFL combines, and I know Tim Dwight had a hamstring problem or something in his 40, but I've never found any Iowa wide receiver under 4.4. Kevin Casper was right there, you know, at 4.4. But
Kevin Casper. That it's funny you should mention him. Rick
Yeah.
threw up there that at the NFL Combine he had a vertical leap of 43.5.
Yeah. I never looked that up, but there's a walk on at Iowa named Kevin Casper, and he played in the NFL for probably 5 years or 4 years.
Yeah, and his son goes to Oregon if he still does.
Yeah.
Maybe he's NFL by now.
No, he didn't. He never started at Oregon, and this is his senior year, and he transferred to BYU, I think. So they don't have many wide receivers like him at BYU. He'll play now.
I thought they only wanted Mormons at BYU.
I don't know about that. I think they like good. I think they like good football players too. I don't think it's I don't think you have to be a Mormon. Like, there's a lot of non-Catholics that go to Notre Dame. But anyway, and then Casper's younger brother might be a junior or senior in high school this year. He might be a junior. He's another wide receiver, not quite as tall as his brother, but he's a good one. I don't know where he'll go. Anyway, so we got Jonathan Harris, Darius Allen, Britt, and we talked about Conkey. And then the three big offensive linemen visited this weekend. Kittrell from out by Omaha, Nebraska. I seen his pictures in Iowa uniforms today on Instagram. Boy, he looks good in an Iowa uniform. But Caleb Johnson, and then my brain's not working. What's the name of the guard or the guy from Missouri, Dean? That we talked about, 6'3", 280 pounds. Them two guys were offensive linemen, were also at Iowa this weekend, and I think we got a good shot at them both. Caleb Johnson's pretty. We pretty much know he's down to Iowa and Indiana. He's an Indiana boy, but I'm going to pick Iowa because I'm biased. And then the kid down to from Missouri is probably Missouri, Iowa, and Nebraska, and I think he'll come to Iowa. And then Kittrell, all his folks, family, all went to Nebraska. I think Nebraska might be the favorite, but we have a good shot too, I think. So when we're going to run out of scholarships pretty soon, we lost the running back who's announcing on Friday, but I know he's going to Northwestern. The kid from Ohio, the running back, is it Keon Norman or something like that? But we got.
How do you know that he's going to Northwestern? What makes
it's pretty much been alluded to in the recruiting. He didn't even make his visit to Iowa this weekend, and he's still
Iowa's probably out of the running then.
Well, he says he's announcing on Friday, and his final three are Northwestern, Iowa, and then another team like Cincinnati or something.
He probably just threw them in, not so he doesn't throw everybody off.
Most people know he's a very good student, and I think he very much values this engineering education that he would get at Northwestern, which Northwestern, if you put Iowa on an academic level, Northwestern's way up here. Let's get real, So yeah, a degree from Northwestern's worth a lot. The other running back that's from Indiana, I think we might get him. I think he's visiting later this month or later in the week or something like that. And
They have some people coming next weekend. This weekend
he's the
coming up.
He's the one I wanted over the Ohio kid anyway. But
Toll House has a comment here.
yeah,
Bennett Gonke, the wide receiver out of Illinois, I heard is interested in Iowa. I believe you said that.
and Indiana.
But have you what have you known about that? I mean, anything about that? Do you know anything about that?
I know he ran a 10-2 100 meters and won the Illinois state track meet last week. And I think it's pretty much Indiana and Iowa. Illinois is in there, Northwestern again, but I had never heard of him till like a month ago, and of course recruiting gets over so much earlier than it used to, that used to you didn't get many commits till August or October. Now you're 3/4 done with your recruiting in June anymore. So once in a while you get a Bessinger late or a Sam Laporta now or Jamari Harris and stuff like that. But Conkey is really, really fast and really, really good. I'm picking Iowa for him because Indiana is getting some highly recruited kids, and he might say, well, I'm Iowa's number one priority, and Indiana's, it's like Caleb Johnson, the offensive lineman to Indiana or Iowa. Indiana's getting other recruits, and he might look at it and say, well, I think I'll have a better chance at Iowa. I don't know, but that's the way kids kind of think.
Well, I think they are looking for playing time first and money second.
Oh, and then the real fast cornerback from Oklahoma, his name was like Uribe or something like that. It started with a Y. Anyway, I think he canceled his visit over the weekend with Iowa, and I think he got money from Minnesota to commit and not visit Iowa. Minnesota last year would give a kid $10,000 if they committed. And people say, well, why would a kid do that? Well, if I was that kid and Minnesota was his favorite, according to all the recruiting experts, if I knew that I like PJ Fleck and I like Minnesota and that's where I'm going to commit, and just before I'm going to leave for an Iowa visit, Minnesota says, well, we'll give you $10,000 to cancel your visit and commit, and you're going to commit anyway. Why wouldn't you take the $10,000? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think it's dirty pool that much.
I think it is.
Yeah. And then who is the other? Oh, and then the Flemister kid who was supposed to committed to, I think, Wisconsin last week, and then he changed his mind. And he had canceled his Iowa visit, and then he was supposed to come to his Iowa visit now. I seen that On3 put in a big prediction that he's committing to Iowa, and he's Desmond King's cousin.
Yeah, Desmond probably called him up after that Wisconsin commit. He goes, "What the heck are you doing?"
The kid originally wanted to go to Michigan real bad. Michigan offered him, but I don't think there's a difference between an offer and then an offer that they'll let you commit with. I know it's ridiculous, but there's a difference between committable offers and just getting an offer. A lot of times an offer is, yeah, we want you eventually if we don't get other people, and we'll pay for an official visit. That's one type of offer. And then there's an offer where if you accept it, like the 300-pound defensive tackle today, he accepted it as soon as he got it, And then there's a committable offer. And Flemister, I don't think, got a committable offer by Michigan. And then Michigan actually got like a 5-star and a 4-star at cornerback. And they probably said, hey, we ain't going to take you. So, but I think he'll be maybe our cornerback. We'll have Harris, Ties, and Flemister. Flemister is a cornerback. Ties is a cash type guy that, like Lutmer and Marcello Vitti, they can play cornerback, safety, or cash. And then Harris would be a safety. So I would expect that might be. I'm not saying that's our last DB commitment though, because I know Phil likes the kid or two out in the Washington D.C. area. That are friends with Jacob Wallace. So then also on the recruiting front, we know Dean mentioned it last pod. We offered the top 4 kickers in the country. One of them committed to North Carolina already, or North Carolina State. I don't remember. But them other 3 kickers, I'm sure we're going to get one of them. I don't know when they're visiting or anything. Maybe they'll visit in the fall or something like that. Usually Iowa don't give scholarships to kickers, but this year maybe we will. And I don't know. I suppose there's scholarship offers. I'm not sure. Time will tell. I'm trying to think of anything else we're recruiting. The Caskey kid that we wanted out of Illinois, the defensive end, he committed to Missouri. So he ain't coming. I would presume that there's probably going to be another defensive lineman, a wide receiver or 2, a running back, and kicker, and maybe another DB, and that'll be it. And that's my dissertation on football recruiting.
Okay.
Anyway.
All righty. Okay, moving on to more football stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I found this in Athlon magazine. So people may have already seen this. The Big Ten position. Okay. Position. I'm gonna go over Iowa's first, where we rank in the Big Ten. Our quarterback is ranked number 16, and they have Hank Brown as our quarterback. Okay. I'm sure they meant to go Helinski/Brown because nobody knows, and including the coaches, who's going to be the quarterback. So
that's the first time I've seen a rating where we weren't 18th. So
yeah, 18th is Purdue and 17th is Rutgers. So those are the 2 teams behind us. Directly in front of us, we have Michigan State and Northwestern. Okay. Our running back is ranked number 9, so in the middle of the pack, upper half anyway. Okay. Our wide receiver core is rated number 16. I can promise you, I don't know about the quarterback rating, but I can promise you the wide receiving rating is going to go considerably higher once the season is concluded.
Yeah, we'll be higher than that at running back. If you're talking about the running back room, because we got 4 starting running backs, guys that are good enough to really be good running backs. Go ahead, Dean.
Our O-line is number 5. Our D-line is number 9. Our linebacking group is number 9. And our DBs are number 6. I think that's kind of a little bit of fall off. By contrast, Indiana, this is crazy. Number 3 quarterback, and this is a guy who hasn't played a down in Big Ten football yet.
But he's a veteran quarterback that's thrown for a lot of yards. He's a transfer that people know a lot about him. Our two quarterbacks don't hardly have any tape playing in college.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I want to read that comment to you too because it talks about Inlinski. Okay. All righty. So where are we at? Oh, Indiana's number 4 in running back, number 3 in wide receiver, number 1 O-line, number 2 D-line, number 1 linebacker, number 3 DBs. Dang. 3 years ago, you would have never said that. No. By the way, I'm having trouble knocking things back and forth on my comment But Cyhawk C Money says, who does Kelvin think will be our starting QB?
I don't know. I'm in favor of Hecklinski. I don't know why. I don't know. I just think he's more savvy, maybe making plays, but I wouldn't know. I'd be stupid to say I think one's better than the other because I have no clue, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, here's something interesting.
mm-hmm.
Nebraska's QB ranking is 12. Their running back is number 15. Their wide receiver is number 8. Their O line is 6. Their D line is 10. Their linebacker is 11, and their DBs are number 8. Ohio State's basically 1, 2, and 3 in everything. Oregon's basically 1, 2, and 3 in everything. Actually, they're 1 and 2 in everything, but O line where they're ranked number 3.
Who are you talking about? What team was that? Oregon?
Yeah, Oregon.
Yeah, I'd say Oregon and Iowa will have the two best offensive ones in the conference. Well, just like they did last year. They paid their starting center. Their starting center was better than Logan Jones last year. I can't remember his name. He's got probably a Samoan name or something. They paid him a lot of money to come back.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, Iowa's O-line is number 5. Ahead of them is...
That's where they go. That's where this magazine has them.
Yeah. The Indiana is at 1. Ohio State 2, Oregon 3, and Michigan 4. Those are the ones directly ahead of Iowa, according to the magazine. You are correct. Yeah. Purdue is number 18 in everything.
That's not a good sign.
It's not a good sign for your season.
Yeah. I don't even know if I watched Purdue play all year last year. Maybe I did, but anyway.
Okay, and we play them this year, so you'll get a chance to see the number 18 ranked in every position.
Well, they got 42 transfers in their 2 deep, so
yeah,
they could be a lot different than last year.
Yeah.
You know, UCLA's got 45 transfers.
Yeah, Rutgers is number 6 in running back and number 9 in wide receiver. Other than that, they're 15 to 17 in everything.
Okay.
And Wisconsin, how the mighty have fallen. Except for number 6 linebacker, they're 13, 14, and 15 in everything.
Mm-hmm.
My God.
Okay.
Seahawks C-Money says don't.
Yeah.
But I just kind of wanted to bring that up to see where we compared, and and just to see our numbers for the defensive part kind of disturbs me a little bit because we kind of ruled the Big Ten for the last few years.
Yeah, but before in the preseason, a lot of them years, our defensive groups probably weren't that highly rated. Our defense plays as a team, and we end up finishing higher than our parts. We're something that's the ingredients are mixed up by Phil Parker and Seth Wallace and Kelvin Bell and Nick Neiman, and what they cook up and mix up is way better than a gourmet meal, so that's the way I put it.
All right, I kind of want to get into. I don't know if we'll do them all.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you still have them ratings there?
Yes, I do.
Where's the Maryland quarterback, that great freshman last year? What do they say about Maryland's quarterback?
Well, we're going to get there. Number 9. Number 9 ranked. And so I will go to the Maryland on here and see just for you and see what they say about the QB.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry I took you in another direction. I thought you were done talking about their ratings, but go ahead.
Okay. Quarterback Malik Washington started 12 games, setting a freshman school records for completions and yards, and he'll do more to make Maryland go now. The offensive coordinator, Clint Trickett, wants the 6'5", 231-pounder to run the ball more, direct a faster paced offense, and increase the motion and get off more snaps. So there you go. That's what they say about their quarterback.
I expected when they had a true freshman quarterback last year, I did expect that he'd run way more of the offense this year. He'll get more on his plate. I just thought he was just superb as a true freshman last year. He was 10,000 times better than that high-paid Michigan quarterback.
Yeah. I'm going to try to bring these up without having any issues, but I've been having issues with these things. Okay. Cyhawk C Money says, critical year for Luke Fickell. Does everybody think he's on the hot seat this year? I think he is.
Yeah, I would think so.
This would be year 5 or year 4. I can't remember.
At least he's got an easier schedule this year. I had him going 6-6. I looked at what I said last.
I have mine too. I'm going to be interested to see where they actually finish. Mm-hmm. Doc P says need to get better at linebacker and defensive tackle this year versus last year. I would agree. I don't disagree with that. I said last year, and I don't remember who it was that agreed with me when we did a preseason thing, that I was kind of running scared a little bit of our defense last year. And although they did perform okay, they didn't perform like the Iowa defense we know. Because let's just say this.
Right.
When was the last time that Kirk turned a game over to the Iowa defense and we didn't lose the game? Last year, we had 3 games where the defense had a chance to stop it and we could won the game.
Yeah, well,
didn't happen because we gave up the yardage.
Just go back. I can answer that question. Mm-hmm. You said, when was the last year? And I go, we'll go back 12 months. The year before, our defense lost about every game we lost. Michigan State, and UCLA. Our offense were fine, Michigan State and UCLA. You think we could stop them? No.
Nope.
And then both Iowa State games were like, how did we let Iowa State score in 29 seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
how do you say Epeneza's first name?
Osei
Epeneza will be a pleasant surprise and more disruptive than most think. I've been saying that, I believe he gets more snaps as a freshman than redshirt freshman now.
I can't believe anybody would term him as a surprise. every Iowa fan, that's all they talk about is Osei Epenesa.
Yeah, you'll say, yeah.
Well, it's like I watched Corey Breda, and he did a good job this week. At one point, him and another guy, his sidekick, not that Mark guy, but his sidekick from Iowa, they sat there and Corey threw out a good question. Who's going to be the major surprise this year? And of course, that other guy, he picked some guy, probably like Epinesa or something. And Corey said, no, I'm talking about a surprise. This year we've been talking about the depth chart so deep. It's like, if you pick McNeil at running back, that's not a surprise. If you pick Thomas Myers, that's not a surprise. And Corey said, I'm talking about a real surprise. And Corey couldn't think of anybody. And finally, at the end, he goes, I'm going to pick Jackson Nave. There's a lot of people don't even know who he is. Now, that would be a surprise.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. In probably August, we'll do our shows where we're going to do our prediction shows, but they're going to be wild predictions.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Tollhouse says, I saw an interview with freshman All-American center from Penn State. He said he grew up an Iowa fan and still loves the black and gold. That upset me. Well, if he grew up an Iowa fan, did we not recruit him then? Because if you grew up an Iowa fan and Kirk comes knocking on your door, aren't you going to say yes?
So was that a major recruit that committed to Iowa State and now he's at Penn State? Did you come up with a name or anything? Or
No, it just says freshman All-American center.
Okay.
Maybe to
I'm
also
trying to
tell us.
I'm trying to run through my head. I know they got a freshman wide receiver there, Zay Robinson, who is just spectacular. He was from Ankeny or someplace, and last year he redshirted at Iowa State, and then he went to Penn State, with Campbell. There's a lot of guys. There's Penn State's going to be loaded. If they go through these position groups, like you even said there a minute ago, Dean, if every position group, every single one of them, if you picked in any order, Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, and Indiana as the top four in all of them, you'd be pretty close.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah. Okay, the guy's name is Brock Ryder. Riker. Brock Riker. That sounds like an Iowa State name. Okay, right before that comment though, Seahawk C Money says Kyle. I do not know if he's asking about Kyle, where he's at, why he's not here. If you are, I will just tell you he's busy with the Minneapolis girls softball team and then maybe baseball too, where he does what they call that podcast that he does, or that streaming podcast. Live. He does live.
But this
something
weekend
about cat. I think something cat or something.
Yeah. This weekend he's in Des Moines this weekend for his bachelor party. Yeah. I told him to behave himself. And then he told me what their itinerary was, and he's behaving himself, going to Iowa Cubs games and stuff like that. No strip clubs for Kyle. So
Okay. So the Brock Riker guy, we think he started at Texas State and then transferred to Penn State last year. The Kyle that they're talking about is Corey Breda's sidekick.
Oh, yeah. Okay. He's on once in a while, like when Corey's sick or something, he'll pop on and take calls and talk through the knowledge he has about the Hawkeyes.
Oh yeah. Okay. If you're thinking more recent Penn State football center who came from Iowa, it may be Connor McGovern. He was an All-American center at Penn State and is from Fargo, North Dakota, not Iowa.
Yeah, but he already said who he was. He's a transfer from North Texas or Texas State. So
yeah, and he's a big golfer. Whoever it is, he's a big golfer.
Today it showed Trevor Lauk taking the three offensive line recruits out to the driving range, and it showed Caleb Johnson, the big guy, 6'5", 270 pounds, and Caleb Johnson I watched his tape. Sometimes he plays center, sometimes he plays guard, sometimes he plays right tackle, sometimes he plays left tackle. But he sure had a good setup. I'm a golfer. He had a good setup to his golf stroke. But anyway.
Yeah.
More comment?
Yeah. It just says, I noticed that Google, this is from Toll House, that Google said that he was recruited by non-Power 5 schools. And no, I'm not talking about McGovern. And then Doc repeated his Kyle comment. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to move on. And so, guys, you're still feel free to put
we love your question.
Down. Oh, before I get started, I want to read what the anonymous coaches had to say about Iowa, one of the Big Ten opposing coaches. Okay. I heard that at Wake Forest, former transfer quarterback Jeremy Hidlinski struggled a bit there, struggled to put weight on, struggled to buy into the intensity of college football a bit. I'm interested to see how he progresses at Iowa. It will be really interesting to see them with the new philosophy of adding more transfers. What they've been doing has been working. It's been developmental, but in this day and age, you can't do that anymore. You have to adapt and make the right choices in the portal. I would still bet a lot of money that they're going to be really good, and the culture of their team will still be intact. Kind of a compliment, non-compliment.
I can't see Iowa. I really don't. I know you can lose a game you don't expect, and games you can't predict because of injuries and all that, right? But I can't see Iowa losing more than 3 games this year. I really can't.
Yeah.
No. What did he say about transfers? Oh, we were talking about Hecklinski. All I know is everybody at Wake Forest said Hecklinski was his second year at Wake Forest was going to be a starter the rest of his career. So they must have been pretty happy with him,
Yeah.
But
All right. Rick says Brock Riker. Rick, I sent you a link if you want to come on live. Brock Riker went to Brock High School in Brock, Texas. Interesting. Okay.
So how's he from Iowa then?
He's not.
Maybe
They said he was from
originally.
North. They said he's from North Dakota. Okay.
Well, that was that other center that used to be at Penn State.
Okay.
Yeah.
Riker loved Hayden Fry, according to Toll House. And Doc
Mhm.
says, I can't remember what we were just saying, but he goes, I'd say 4. So what were you saying right before I
I'll
read these
say,
comments?
he thinks that we're going to lose 4 games. He probably thinks we're going to lose to Illinois or something. But
yeah, well, I have us beating Michigan, but losing to Illinois. I know. You would think if we could beat Michigan, we wouldn't lose to Illinois.
I'm not scared of Illinois this year. But.
Doc did say he's on their losses. Okay. I want to kind of go over. Like I said, I don't know how many we'll get to, but
you had some anonymous quotes.
Well, that's what I just read before.
Well, just the one about Hecklinski and transfers. That's the only one you had.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
But they're saying Iowa's new philosophy of adding extra transfers. I find that funny because all Iowa's ever done is just fill their needs. Some years it's more people than others.
Mm-hmm.
This year they were just filling a need. Okay,
well,
so our first game of the year is
this year we had 27 guys graduate.
Yeah, so we needed more people.
And most of the time, true freshmen. A few of them can play when they're true freshmen, but you aren't going to recruit 27 true freshmen and then only have 4 or 5 help out. Your team won't be very good without some experience coming. So
yeah. Toll House says, I think we beat Michigan and lose to Northwestern. That wouldn't shock me. That would not shock me. Although we finally turned this series around back to our favor again. Okay, Northern Illinois is our first game of the season, guys. They're a new member of the Mountain West, and they are predicted to finish 10th in the Mountain West. And last year they were a member of the MAC, 3-9 and 2-6, 2-6 in conference. And so
I can't remember whether they got rid of their coach in the fall or whether they got rid of him the year before. Well,
yeah. So anyhow, I will tell you that right now. Head coach is Rob Harley. Record at school. This is his first season.
Thought so.
Okay. And then, yeah. So here's what their schedule looks like. Of course, they're at Iowa, Illinois State, at Arizona, at Georgia State, Air Force, at Wyoming, Hawaii, at UNLV, at San Jose State, Nevada, at North Dakota State, because North Dakota State, guys, is no longer a subdivision, or was it championship division or subdivision? I can't remember what
they're Division I now.
Yep, they're in the West now, and then they play UTEP to finish their season. This school is probably going to have more travel than any other school I can think of.
Well, it's like I'm listening to their schedule, Hawaii and stuff, and I'm thinking, I hope it ain't in Hawaii. How does Northern Illinois afford to travel?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's just like, this is crazy because they joined a West Coast Conference team that's mainly all West Coast teams. And they're going to be traveling a ton to California, a ton to the other Western states, Nevada, Texas, and
Okay,
Air
so I got
Force,
a
I believe.
question.
Air Force is in Colorado, right?
I got a question,
Mm-hmm.
Dean.
Yes.
What's Northern Illinois' schedule got to do with us?
Oh no, I just wanted to talk about what they what they're doing for the season. Okay. Toll House
Wow.
says I love Northern Illinois
Lose.
University.
They're gonna lose a lot, Dean.
Yeah, yes they are. I love Northern Illinois University. I've been there many times, and I watched Steve Carfino in Iowa lose to Northern Illinois in DeKalb, and still upsets me. Yeah, you know what? At the time, Steve Carfino was my favorite player.
I watched Northern Illinois beat Iowa at Kinnick Stadium.
Yes, oh, that was sad. That was
Jake
sad. That cost us a
Rudock.
bowl game. Was that
Jake
the game that
Rudock.
cost us a bowl game?
We were driving. We were driving. It was Jake Rudock was the starter, and we were driving. The game was tied, and we were driving to kick the winning field goal. And that stupid Greg Davis had a play where Rudock was not even supposed to look, take one step back and throw the ball out to the flat. And he did at the All-American safety or cornerback for Northern Illinois, picks it off and runs it all the way back.
I did not know that Rudock was one of his quarterbacks that he mentored.
Well, and Beathard took his place, and Davis did Beathard's last 2 years.
Okay. So. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about Iowa State. They're our second game on the schedule.
Yeah.
Oh, Doc wants to know. Okay. First of all, we'll go to Toll House's comment. Sorry, guys, if I'm a little behind on getting caught up. I root for Toll Houses. I root for Northern Illinois unless they're playing Iowa. Victor E. Husky, the best mascot name in sports. Thank you. I did not know that was their mascot name. Okay. Doc says, didn't one of our running backs transferred there a couple years ago?
Yep. The kid from Gavin. Well, more than one. Gavin Williams from Des Moines. He went there, and then I think somebody after that. But I got an interesting piece of information. Can I tell it now, Dean?
Sure.
While it's in my brain.
Yep.
Finally, the NCAA, you know how they got Iowa for tampering? They finally got a second school, and this time they went for the elite, you know. They say that that the NCAA always leaves the Alabamas and Georgias and stuff alone all the time and attacks poor Iowa. This time they got an elite school. They got North Dakota.
Okay. Probably elite school in their own division.
They don't have to give up any victories, but because their head coach wasn't involved. But the assistant coach can't be involved in recruiting like 3 weekends, has to sit out a couple games, stay home during a couple games or something. But yeah, they finally went for an elite school, North Dakota. So even though Alabama tampered their whole life with Nick Saban, you know, Nick even talked about it on ESPN. Yet Alabama, that great cornerback that from Toledo, Nick Saban said, we tried to get him to transfer, but he wouldn't enter the transfer portal. You know, I can't remember that guy. He was like the 13th pick in the draft, cornerback for Toledo 2 years ago. I don't know if he went to Detroit or someplace, Philadelphia, someplace. But they won't come down on Alabama, you know. They're going after North Dakota and Iowa.
Yeah. Toll House says, in my Chicago days in the 70s, I once went to a Chicago game with the father of the current Pope. He and my aunt were education friends.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting tidbit. We're learning a lot of stuff. Okay. Iowa State. All righty. I kind of been asking about, does anybody have any information on this school? Because we know that they were decimated. All right. So Rocco Breck is now at Penn State. So the new presumed quarterback is Jalen Rayner. He has thrown for 3,361 yards and 9 touchdowns in 2025 at Arkansas State. Man, what does Iowa State always go after these quarterbacks that throw for a lot of yards? Can't we just can't Iowa State just once get a normal quarterback?
Well, I don't know. But their whole roster, other than there's some guys that did return, like their kicker and some other guys, their whole roster is like transfers. And people think Iowa State is not going to be any good. They got 65 transfers. How the hell do you know that Iowa State is not going to be good?
Yeah, I think they'll be better than most people think they are because they are predicted by Athlon to finish number 16 in their conference out of 16 teams.
Yeah, that's because the Athlon's saying they lost everybody. Well, they still got 105 guys on the roster.
Yeah. Most of these
guys are experienced college football players that they brought in. You know, it's not like they brought in 65 high school kids.
Well, this quarterback seems like the real deal.
They all do.
Yeah.
They're all the real deal. Hecklinski's the real deal. Brown's the real deal. Jimmy Sullivan's the real deal. You know.
Okay.
Fitzgerald.
All right.
They're all the real deal. They're all the real deal until the bullets start flying. So.
Yeah. All righty. Okay. Can I actually read now? Okay. Despite heavy turnovers, Iowa State retained several key contributors, including defensive lineman Zymir Hawk and Jace J. Gilbert, linebacker Carson Welch, and defensive backs David Coffey and Drew Surge. New head coach Jimmy Rogers and defensive coordinator Jesse Bobbitt are also familiar with them from Washington State. Linebacker Sullivan, defensive lineman Max Bolin, Isaac Terrell, averages 7 sacks, or actually had 7 sacks in 2025. Malik Tays, along with defensive backs Duran Goodman and Terrell Sherrill, should play significant roles in the rotation. Their specialists, their kicker Kyle Conrady. Yes, you guys will remember. What did he kick to beat Iowa? A 60-something field goal?
They beat us the last 2 years with long field goals. So.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, yeah. I wish he would have left. I'm not feeling as confident with that Iowa State game any longer. Okay.
You're never very confident, Dean.
I know it.
You'd never be able to play for Kirk or Ben because you're moody, you're negative, and Ben, I can quote Ben, he said, Dean's too sensitive.
That's why he won't come on my show.
I'm just teasing you, Dean.
I know that. I'm also joking back.
Isn't that what he said about the Florida coach? They got sensitive all of a sudden.
I know it. Okay. Final analysis. 50 Cyclones entered the transfer portal, including 16 starters. A staggering total of 24 players followed Campbell to Happy Valley. Rogers wasted no time in reshaping the roster. More than 45 transfers arrived in Ames, giving the Cyclones one of the more transformed teams in the country. With that level of turnover in 2026 represents a full reset, but there's enough incoming talent to remain competitive in the always changing Big 12. You know what? I'm going to predict right now that this team will surprise a few people, just like Tohal said. I think they're going to be better than predicted.
Yeah, they're unpredictable, you know.
Yeah.
It just depends on how good the coach is, right, Dean? So.
Yep. Okay. Got you and I next. This magazine has nothing on you and I. I do know that their coach is in his second year, taking this team for the second year. The thing I read says they're in the Missouri Valley. That's incorrect because they're not. Missouri Valley doesn't exist in football, I don't think, or maybe it does. But I think it's the Summit League in football.
I don't know. It was the Missouri Valley last year.
For football?
Yeah, because Donnie Patterson always does the Missouri Valley games as a color commentator. I don't know if he did it last year, but that's what he talked about all the time. He kept calling North Dakota State and UNI, and all of them are in the Missouri Valley with Western Illinois and all that. But don't matter. I know one thing: UNI's best football player, defensive lineman, he went to Iowa State. He'll probably start at Iowa State this year against us. I don't remember his name.
Okay, let's look. Here we go. I just did a AI thing on. Okay, they do compete in the FCS division as a member of the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Okay. Okay. Head coach is Todd Steppes. He leads the team in his second season with home games at the Unidome. Okay, we all know that though. They have an 11-game schedule, features 5 home games at the Unidome this year, and a single FBS non-conference opponent. Well, we know who that is, Iowa. They will play Eastern Washington. They will play Drake at home, Illinois State conference opener. Then they versus North Dakota, Youngstown State, Southern Illinois, Indiana State, South Dakota State, and South Dakota, and then they're at Murray to finish the season. Murray State, that is. You know what's funny there? Is they got a South Dakota State, North Dakota, and South Dakota. I mean, you remember when you and I used to rule? Used to be the North Dakota states and the North Dakotas and South Dakota states.
I used to watch this. I used to watch the Stan Sheriff. He'd have the highlights of every game, and then the guy that took his place too. He come from Eastern Illinois, but it was always Daryl Mudra. And anyway, it was always Eastern Illinois, Northern Iowa, and Southwest Missouri State were the 3 power teams. You know, every year. And UNI was in the playoffs every year.
Yep. Yeah. And Stan Sheriff, I believe, went to Hawaii to be athletic director or football coach.
Athletic director, and then he persuaded his friend Bob Hogue to come out and be the announcer. He said, "It's sure nice living in Hawaii. Come out and be our play-by-play guy for all sports." So
yeah, I knew Bob Hogue personally because he worked with my dad side by side at KWWL.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took Ron Steele's spot as a head sports person when Ron Steele went to become an anchor of the news desk, which Ron Steele just retired this year. And Ron Steele, I know him personally too. I know everybody at KWL that was around when my dad was.
And Ron Steele was old enough that he was at the University of Iowa when Miller Six-Pack played as a student. So.
Yeah. All right. Michigan State last year had the 68th ranked scoring offense, so people were right when they said that they didn't score much.
What team was that?
Michigan. Michigan is our next game after UNI. Okay. I'm sorry if I didn't say that, guys. I was trying to do that.
I just
yeah, Doc mentioned, and I forgot about this. We forgot Earl Bruce was in the Dome for a year, and that's because he wasn't allowed to take a Division I program for a while. And then didn't he leave UNI and go to Iowa State?
Well, Earl Bruce came to Northern Iowa. I didn't know it was just 1 year, but he came because got fired at Ohio State because he only won 8 games a year, and anyway, he came to Northern Iowa because Eldon Miller told him, "Come over to Northern Iowa and coach."
Yeah. But I thought he went to Iowa State for a short time, too. I could be wrong.
He was at Iowa State. That's where he was. He took Johnny Major's place at Iowa State, and then he did real good at Iowa State, and then Ohio State, where Earl Bruce started coaching for Woody Hayes. Earl Bruce went and took Woody Hayes' spot.
Yeah, Doc just mentioned that he started at Iowa State, so I was wrong on the order. Boy, Iowa State sure got some big name coaches. had Earl Bruce. Then they had Johnny Orr for a while for basketball.
Well, they had Johnny Majors is a guy that Iowa State was always so bad in football. Then they got Johnny Majors, a former Tennessee All-American football player, to come coach, and Johnny turned them around and took them to beat Nebraska and went to bowl game after bowl game and had great players. And then Johnny Majors went to Pitt.
Yep, I was going to say I think he was at Pitt for
Tony Dorsett. He went to Pitt from Iowa State. Had Tony Dorsett, and then won the national championship maybe with Tony Dorsett. And then, I think when Tony Dorsett was a senior, they won the national championship. And then his alma mater, Tennessee, called him in about 76 or 7 or 8, went down and coached Tennessee for 15, 17 years.
Okay.
That's the Johnny Majors story.
All right, back to Michigan.
Yeah.
All righty. The cupboard is far from bare for Winningham, who makes the jump to Michigan after more than 30 years at Utah. All right, I want to stop there. This article is wrong. He retired from Utah and then went to Michigan. Although I swear that he retired from Utah so that he was free to take the Michigan job.
I think so too.
Okay. The final 21 as head coach, Winningham and his staff used the portal to help fill some holes through concerns with depth and difficult schedule. Could make some growing pains. A 9-3 season might be the ceiling for this team. I actually have them can't remember. It's like 7-5 or 6-6. I think that might be the ceiling, but I think they're going to be a little lower than that.
You had them at 6-6, and I had them at 7-5.
Yep. I kept that sheet of paper. I've got it right here in a file, so we can use it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then, of course, do we even need to talk about Ohio State? I don't know. The presumed number one team. Justin Sayin is going to be back, going to be another Heisman candidate again.
Jeremiah Smith, the top wide receiver, supposedly ever. Got a big defensive tackle from Alabama. They just got talent over talent.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's just crazy how, places like Iowa cannot just get
It's just crazy that Iowa can't get all the great players in the world. I don't know why they don't, but
no, me too. I mean, Iowa's my first love, and it's just like, you would think everybody would want to go to Iowa.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The final analysis for Ohio State is head coach Ryan Day is a proven survivor who adapted well enough to scale the summit of modern college football. His new CEO type approach should be empowering to Arthur Smith and Patricia, both former NFL head coaches. This staff will have to hustle to fine-tune a roster littered with a program record 51 newcomers and a loaded schedule, but if the defense is able to reload all that championship possibilities back on the table. They did have a lot of people go to the NFL this year.
But they just said they got 51 newcomers. That's not true.
That's what I said. It's just like I just read it word for word.
They got 16 total transfers in the 2 deep, which is one of the lowest numbers in the Big Ten. They just load up with 5 stars. I liked how it started. I had to laugh out loud. They say, Ryan Day has navigated the battlefield to be successful. It's like you're at Ohio State. You could be the worst coach in the country and win 8 games every year. You're born on third base. Let's cut that out. It's like,
okay, not every coach can take that roster and win. Okay, remember there were some coaches that went 8-4 and got fired.
I said any coach could win 8 games at Ohio State.
Oh, okay. All righty. All righty. Okay, let's see. All right, our next game is, I'm kind of just flying over these, is at Washington.
Yep.
All righty, this is one where I predicted that we would lose, and I did this because of all the intangibles. West Coast trip, Friday night trip, which would be about 10, the game is about like at 10 o'clock their time, Iowa's time, 8 o'clock, I believe, Washington time. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just felt like that, our guys are going to be sleepy.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of much like the UCLA game where our guys didn't look like they had much pep in their step.
Until we win a game on the West Coast on a home field, you got to pick it as a loss,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
All righty.
they have a
Okay. So here's the
returning
scouting
quarterback
report.
and everything. So
Yeah, they do. And got one returning wide receiver. I mean, they got more returning wide receivers, but out of the 6 wide receivers listed, 2 are freshmen and 1's a sophomore. And Desmond Roebuck is a sophomore. He's their lone starting wide receiver back.
Yep.
Of course, their QB is Desmond Williams.
Yep.
Okay.
He completes about 77% of his passes.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I want to read this quite interesting scouting on the Huskies. Okay. They can recruit better at the high school level, which would help them get there, but I almost see them in the same light as Minnesota. They're not a dark horse, but they'll be a top half team. I definitely think talent is part of that. It was assuming that quarterback Desmond Williams was going to LSU when he entered the transfer portal. You got the sense pretty early that after LSU missed out on Cincinnati transfer quarterback Brendan Sorsby, that they were pretty desperate, but it would have made a lot of sense for Williams to leave Washington. And once it came out that his agency cut ties with him because of it, there was no way that was going to happen.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
He had a 2-year contract at Washington. He could not leave.
Okay. This is the guy that couldn't leave. Okay.
Yeah, he had a 2-year NIL contract, and Washington said, "Hey, you can't leave."
Yeah.
And he was kind of embarrassed. He was kind of embarrassing. He had to go back to Washington.
They said his agency cut his ties.
Well, his agencies told him that no, you can't. You have a contract. You can't do that. Mm-hmm. So I don't know anything about that, but I want to know how it went over with the team.
Yeah.
His teammates, are they mad at him, or are they making fun of him, or are they laughing at him, or what? I don't know.
Probably not. Okay. The final analysis for Washington, the schedule includes a few tough road trips, USC, Nebraska, Oregon. But if Williams can take a step forward after struggles in the moments last year, Washington should be able to get to 10 wins and potentially knock on the door of the college football playoff.
Why did they have them grouped up with Minnesota anyway? Minnesota,
I don't know. That was the anonymous coach that said that.
Oh. Washington's been an elite school since 1980.
Yeah.
Once in a while they have a little downturn, but for the most part, they've been a top 10 program since 1980.
Yeah, I should go back up on this one real quick and just tell everybody where these schools are ranked. Ohio State is predicted to finish 1. Michigan's predicted to finish number 4. Washington number 6, and the current team we're about to talk to is Minnesota, predicted to number 11. I will tell you what, if they could give out championship trophies for the way PJ Fleck talks a good game, he'd win it hands down because he can talk and talk and talk. I almost hate watching media days when I'm waiting for somebody else to come on the stage and we have to listen to PJ Fleck not take any questions because he just talks and talks and talks, and nobody gets a question in.
I won't say nothing, but you know what I think of PJ. So
Yeah. Okay. I guess on their field goal kicking was a struggle last season, leading to competition between Beckham Sutherland and a Michigan transfer Daniel Jackson. But neither has attempted a collegiate field goal yet. Punter Tom Weston had a quality first season. We'll need to find returners for both punts and kickoffs. They do. The Gophers are in the bottom half of the Big Ten in paying players. I bet we are too, but have consistently finished in the top half of the league. That should continue this fall, especially if Lindsey can make the leap. You know what's so funny is that they're predicted to finish 11, which is in the lower half of the league, but they're saying they should be able to finish in the upper half of the league again.
Well, I don't think so. From what you've read of this, what this magazine says about each team, I don't think much of the magazine. But by the way, Lindsey is predicted to be I follow mock drafts, and I've seen a mock draft where he's supposed to be the 16th player picked in a draft as a quarterback. Wow. Supposed to be like 7 quarterbacks in the top 16.
So. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, okay.
Sorry, I bored you, Dean. But
no, I got up at 4:00 this morning.
Well, quit that.
Okay, the Gophers have the 7th highest percentage of returning production for 2026 on their defense, according to ESPN, with 71% of their offense and 65% of their defense coming back. Isn't that amazing?
I got them. They only got 11 out of 20 some starters back. I don't understand that. One of the lower numbers in the Big Ten. I don't understand this magazine. I don't think it's accurate at all.
Yeah, maybe it was a Minnesota person who wrote the article.
I don't know. I know one thing. Minnesota, which I've repeated this stat on here. This will be the 3rd podcast in a row. Iowa has the fewest snaps returning for defense in the nation, and Minnesota is next. So I don't see where all these returners that Minnesota has. Their All-American safety went to Oregon for money. So
yeah. Okay. So we got Wisconsin coming up next. But Cyhawk C Money says Don James was a good coach at Washington. What is he doing anything these days, or is he dead? Or
he's probably dead by now. He was an assistant coach for Bo Schembechler at Miami, Ohio, and then at Michigan. And then he took over Washington. So.
Okay. Well, I was old enough I could have been assistant coach for Bo Schembechler.
Hell, you could have been an assistant coach for Alonzo Stagg.
No, I don't think so.
That was a joke. He was in the 19-teens and the 1920s and 30s.
Okay, so we got Illinois goes. So the final analysis, they said the schedule breaks more favorably for Wisconsin this year than last, but there are too many new and unproven faces in key positions to predict a major turnaround for this program stuck in a rut. A better record should be in store, but the Badgers aren't yet contenders in the Big Ten. This is what the scouting report says by opposing Big Ten coach. This is why they're anonymous, because they don't want to tip their hand who said this and give anything. Okay, They scored 81 points in 9 conference games. I don't care who your quarterback is. That speaks to a lot of bigger issue than just the quarterback position. There are teams in the conference who could not throw a single pass and score more than 9 points per game. It also, Iowa.
Deacon Hill, we average 15, 16 points a game. I mean.
Yeah. It also speaks to defensively your ability to make turnovers and special teams, your ability to make kicks. I thought it was a whole package thing. Truthfully, I was not surprised that both Wisconsin and Maryland decided to run it back with their head coaches. I wasn't really impressed with either one of those teams. It almost felt like they didn't really know who the next guy was going to be, so they decided that they'd rather have a year to prepare for a move like that. So this coach thinks that both Fickle and Maryland coach are out after this year, unless of course they turn things around majorly. One has a quarterback though. One has a really good quarterback. Okay, so then our next game is Northwestern at Northwestern in their brand new stadium. That's no bigger than a high school stadium, from what I was told.
Dean's worried about this game.
I'm not worried as much as that. Northwestern does seem to have our number, but this is one I got us winning.
Yeah, I remember they beat us like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, but I don't remember. I don't know.
Okay, so everybody knows by now that Chip Kelly is their offensive coordinator. How Northwestern was able to pull that off is just beyond me.
Money and Chip Kelly is not in great demand. And they also brought along his sidekick from UCLA, young Neuheisel, who called the plays for UCLA when they upset Penn State and stuff. So they
is Neuheisel there?
Yeah, he's an assistant offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, I think.
Okay, alrighty. Kelly's arrival
I say that on every podcast.
Yeah, Kelly's arrival in the October opening of the $862 million brand new Ryan Field fueled excitement. Northwestern is investing in football. Braun wants to, who's the coach, by the way, in case you guys didn't know, wants to become a college football playoff contender. His plan might take some time, though, as Northwestern visits Indiana, Oregon, Ohio State, hosts Penn State, and Iowa. A third bowl appearance in 4 seasons is a reasonable goal. What? Anyway, T. Hink says, okay, here we go. First of all, T. Hink says, I have no concern with Northwestern. They are not good. And T. Hink has Iowa 8-4. Okay, Hink, which one of the which ones of the 4 are we losing? I'm pretty sure I can guess 3 of them. Who's your 4th one?
I'd say Illinois.
I'm going to say Illinois as well.
But we're going to kill them. We are. Oh. We got a better team than Illinois does this year, and we got better coaches, I think.
Okay, so
Bielema can't keep his coaches there.
Yeah.
You can't do that, Northwestern's not going to be as good as they were last year. Northwestern had one of the best returning defenses in the Big Ten last year, and that defense is not back this year, So
okay, well, here's what assistant coach anonymously had to say. I was super interested in the new Northwestern offensive coordinator Kip Kelly move. Just from a personnel meeting scheme standpoint, I just imagine that their personnel department was like, "What the F do we do now?" Everything was built with that team. With that team is like this ground and pound man zone running scheme that you have to play some action off of it. I thought they had a good couple of young players. I don't think they evaluate like Minnesota or Illinois, but I wouldn't say that they're poor at it. Kelly is run heavy, and there's a misconception that he's been someone who throws it all over the yard. He's not. He's just a Temple guy, and that's not their game at all. I don't think this was a shocking move, but I think it raised some eyebrows. So you think in the back doorway he's saying this won't work? Nebraska is his 4th loss.
Oh, Jesus. Nebraska won't be near as good as they were last year.
Oh, gosh. I don't even know if I want to do Purdue.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the point is. What did the anonymous coach say about Purdue?
Okay, let's read it. Okay.
Not that it matters.
Got to put there we go. Light's a little better. Okay. Some continuity definitely helps head coach Barry Odom in year 2.
Mm-hmm.
Truthfully, I wasn't incredibly impressed with what they brought in the transfer portal. At Purdue, you have such an avenue to offer playing time to guys when other schools that you're going to play against that aren't that much better, then you can't do that. I don't think they took great advantage of that. I definitely think they'll do better. They'll be better from a continuity standpoint. I really do think that they are a good coaching staff, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't impressed with what they brought in, that I was impressed with what they brought in the portal. I hope that you don't have to play them.
22 of their starters are transfers, and 42 of their two deep are transfers. So, and they spent a lot of money, but. And
yeah,
I do like
they went.
I think their head coach. I think their head coach Odom is a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know that he's that above the elite coach that gives him a chance. The Big Ten is just tougher than nails, and he's in state with Cignetti and Notre Dame. How many recruits are you going to get out of Indiana? Sure, if they're lifetime Purdue fans, they might go to Purdue, but otherwise, everybody in Indiana is going to go to, first of all, Indiana, second of all, Purdue, Notre Dame, third of all, Iowa or Ohio State or Michigan. Iowa keeps getting a good kid out of Indiana about every year. So, go ahead, Dean.
I missed some stuff, but Okay, I'm having trouble getting the comments up and down again, guys. I don't know what's going on with my computer.
Can you see them to read?
I'm going to read them because I can't put them up there.
I like comments.
The easiest schedule in the Big Ten this year must be Penn State. Coach Campbell has a easy first year. Yeah. Hink says Purdue is terrible. I don't have trust in either QB at Iowa. Not impressed with either option. We play Purdue next year. Okay, we're caught up on the thing. All righty, let's move on to Illinois. This was my predicted loss to Illinois.
Got a shaking in our boots.
Yeah. Final analysis on this team: the 24 and 25 Illinois football teams set the school record for most wins in a 2-year stretch with 19. What Belima and his staff really want, though, is a spot in the college playoff. Don't they all, though? I mean, that's kind of goes without saying. The schedule includes a pair of preseason top 5 teams, Ohio State and Oregon, but every other game is winnable. Still, Illinois is one of the least experienced teams in the country, a year after being one of the most experienced. Another 9-win season is likely best-case scenario.
Does this magazine know that Illinois has the most? Yeah, they have the most returning starters in the Big Ten. Yet
they're saying that they don't.
16 returning starters out of 22 guys. How is that losing all your them and Oregon and Penn State are the 3 teams. Illinois 16 starters, Oregon 15, and Penn State 14.
Yeah.
This magazine is so screwed up. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I'll have to pick up Lindy's maybe. Big Ten prediction for Illinois is number 9, 9th place, right behind Iowa. Okay, they finished 9-4 last year and 5-4 in the Big Ten. So if they went from having the most experienced team last year and they think they're least experienced this year, I guess that means that they're going to lose a lot of games. All right, Illinois scouting the Illini.
But it's not true.
Yeah.
I think Illinois. I only got Illinois losing 3 games. I got them going 9-3. But.
Yeah, Hink says that that Illinois doesn't have a QB. They won't be good. Okay, this is what the scouting report by the anonymous coach says. Okay, they evaluate great. They know what fits for them. They do a great job of not swinging for the home run every time they recruit, only to lose guys to Ohio State in some one-on-one battles. But they have no business doing that. They're super aware of that, and they don't spend a lot of useless time, and they evaluate really well. It's not surprising. Okay. It's
One
not
thing,
surprising that any aspect of their defense line was outrageously good the last 2 years. In our evaluation, it was every bit as good as Penn State, Michigan's, and Ohio State's. But I know that most of that group has left, so it'll be interesting to see how they replace them. Okay. What were you saying?
One thing they got exactly right is Bielema is one of the best talent evaluators you can have. You know, another good thing that Brett always does, as soon as Iowa offers a guy, he runs and offers him.
Because he respects the Iowa's evaluation.
He knows that if Kirk Ferentz and that group, Tyler Barnes, you know, he worked with him. He worked with Kirk, you know, and he knows Phil, you know, and if Iowa offers a guy, 9 times out of 10, the next day Illinois offers him. And if you follow recruiting, you notice that. So anyway.
Okay. Yeah, and the quarterback listed the 2 quarterbacks, number 1, Caton Hauser and Carson Boyd. He's a freshman.
Yeah,
the other one, Hauser's a senior.
Yeah, he's a transfer that started out at Michigan State. I can't remember where he went, but then he come back to Illinois. And I heard Brett talking about him the other day, and Brett thinks he's way better than Altenberger. Way better, way big guy with a big arm, quick release, and can run physically. So he sounds like Gronowski with Hank Brown's arm. So anyway.
Okay. All right, last and final game of our season. Well, it won't be our final game because we'll play in a bowl game or a playoff. Back-to-back bowl games represented progress, but in year 4 of the Matt Rule era, new pieces and schemes will need to click quickly for Nebraska to show additional growth in 2026 against a difficult Big Ten schedule that features Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon. Just about everybody has about 3 tough games on their schedule, though.
Well, it's the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you got 18 teams, there's no way around it. All righty. Here's what the opposing coach had to say. They're in a ton of denial with the quarterback situation. Dylan Raiola is as good as they get as a player and as a person. Losing him, I thought was, hang on. Okay. Losing him, I thought he was their last hope. He was the pin that was holding this thing together. I don't imagine that they're going to have anything to do anything special. I think 5 wins, maybe 6 at the most this year. If they hit 7, I'd be shocked. Head coach Matt Rule has some great aspects. He can make you run through a wall, but there's just always so much turnover with his staff. I know to be in Rule makes it like it's like that on purpose because he doesn't want you to get comfortable. I don't want to say his model isn't going to work, but I don't know.
Yeah, Raiola was an immensely talented kid. You know, he's going to be Oregon's quarterback next year. So
yeah,
whenever Oregon wants you, you're a quarterback. You know, you're a good one. You know, he didn't have no. You know, he had that great running back last year, and they could run the ball, but it's like Nebraska don't know how to pass protect. You know, I know some people. What's Holgerson, their offensive coordinator? You know, people think he's a good offensive coordinator or something, but Nebraska just can't get out of their own way. Since Rule's been there, it's been penalty after penalty at the wrong time, turnover after turnover at the wrong time. It's like they're like the Maryland of the Midwest. Maryland always has talent, but they always screw everything up. 10 penalties a game. You know, you gotta. You know, Iowa don't shoot itself in the foot. You know, we're the least penalized team in the nation, or one of the top least penalized teams in the nation. And Kirk values the football. You know,
yeah,
and
other
other coaches. Well, I think any coach would think that way. But it's one thing to think that way. It's another thing to know how to coach, discipline, technique, that it shows up on the field. And I don't know how they do it at Iowa, but they do it every year. So, anyway.
Yeah. So, that's my gosh, my window faces directly southwest, and that's the sun coming in on me.
Turn your head to your left, then I guess, or something.
There we go.
There you go. Well, you can't have it shining in your eye. That don't work. Is that your good eye?
No, my good eyes right there.
Oh, well, that's a blessing.
Your camera, the sun's coming from over.
This way. I have a quick interesting tidbit I heard.
Well, wait a minute. Let me do this while we're still on Nebraska. Let me do this real quick for Toll House. Okay. Nebraska's problem is the fan base expects too much and missteps get called out. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, the other thing, it ain't even about football, but Ben McCollum, he was interviewed this week, and he told an interesting little tidbit about Sturts. Sturts, they wrote out a check to Sturts. This is what we're going to pay you. I think it was 1.2 million or 1.5, something like that.
He didn't want the money.
No, he said no. He says, I want to help you. I'm going to give you back part of the money so we can get other players. And Ben goes, no. He said, you took way less here to come to Iowa. And I thought that was like the most heartwarming thing. I just love Ben, and I love Ben at Sturt. So anyway.
Okay. Well, we've had a football heavy show tonight. Is there anything in the other sports like women's basketball we need to talk about?
Caitlin.
Okay.
Caitlin, everybody wants to talk about Caitlin. It's all over all the time.
Why? I mean, what's going on? Why do we? I mean,
we don't know the inner workings, but yeah. I think Caitlin's obviously hurt. I seen her get bumped into, and she went down on her knees. She bumped into the tall girl, Brianna Stewart.
Oh yeah, that Brianna, my God, they couldn't stop her. And when you have to foul at the end of the game to try to get the ball back, why are you fouling the best free throw shooter on that team?
Yeah, if you want to talk a little bit about the game, but anyway, Caitlin was going in for a layup, and she got bumped, and they called the foul and everything. It was the one where she got Brianna accidentally hit her in the face with her arm. It wasn't on purpose or anything. And Caitlin went right down on her knees, and she couldn't get up. And her teammate, I don't know if it was that Hines girl, one of them big teammates, it wasn't Boston, but it was one of them other two big girls, came over and had to lift her up on her feet. And Caitlin was holding her like right here in her core. I bet it's her back, and Caitlin, I seen by WNBA ratings, even with her turnovers and her defense ain't that good. This was offense and defense put together. Caitlin's was ranked the 13th highest rated player yet. And on defense, she's in the top third. Caitlin is not a great top defensive player, but a lot of them in the WNBA are not great defensive players. Brianna Stewart can't really guard many people because she's not fast, but she's tall. And Kelsey Mitchell's, to me, is the worst defensive player on Indiana, and she was rated the worst defensive player on that listing on the Indiana team. Kelsey's so fast and such a great athlete. How come she never gets any steals or anything? She should have 3 times more steals than Caitlin. That's my view of her athletic ability. But I don't know all these rumors about trades and blah blah blah. I don't I don't believe any of it, and
First
I
of all,
don't
she's not
know
getting
any.
traded. She's not getting traded. Already her 4th-year option's been picked up.
I know
So
that, but she could still get traded.
I
But
suppose she
but
could because
but I don't.
you know,
But what I'm saying is, I don't believe all the rumors. If somebody
I don't
knows
either.
something for fact, which I know none of us in the state of Iowa except her parents would know any facts
Yeah.
about it.
Okay.
They can't get on here and say, well, Caitlin's not happy and she's gonna be demand a trade, because we don't know that.
All right. Well, let's just push Caitlin off to the side till Wednesday. Rick says
Mhm.
he has some inside information and he'll
Mhm.
reveal it on Wednesday night show.
Cool.
Okay. Vandy says he's looking forward to the game in Sioux City against Vanderbilt for the women. I
Oh,
wonder why. I wonder why Vandy's looking forward to the game.
I don't know. It's because finally in the state of Iowa or South Dakota, his team is going to play.
Yeah.
So that's
Well,
Vanderbilt.
yeah. Well, anyway, speaking of Vanderbilt, that was quite the interesting. I didn't remember the football game and the bowl game against Vanderbilt. The win was as close as it was. We never really got more than 10 points in front of them ever. But thank God in the second half, every time they scored, we scored.
Well, Vanderbilt was their punter. Vanderbilt's a very high academic school,
Hmm.
and their punter. Your memory ain't quite right, Dean, because their punter was so smart. With like 50 seconds left to go in the first half, he runs across the line of scrimmage and punts, gives Iowa the ball on the 15-yard line. The next play, we throw the ball to, I think, was it Vanderzee for a touchdown or Vanami? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it was Vanderzee, and we were ahead 21-7, Dean.
Okay. All righty.
So that's more than 10.
Okay. All righty. Okay. All right. Toll says, I'm going to try to bring this up, or did I already? I already did. Okay. I live in Nebraska. I lived in Nebraska for 15 years. After college, there was an article on Nebraska football on the front page of the Omaha World Herald, 365 days a year. How often is Iowa football on the front page? The front page? You mean like not the front of the sports page, but the front of the.
Well, there's no newspapers anymore that people buy and look at. So
Yeah. I will
I
say
don't
this
know.
though.
I don't know what's on the front page of the sports section.
When I was managing the grocery store for several years, we had food shows twice a year in Omaha, down in I think the old downtown district type area. And I will tell you, when we get done on a Saturday and get ready to head back for, or is it Sunday? Sunday, yeah, we get ready to head back to our homes. No, it was Saturday. We'd hit all these what do you call it? Basically, tailgates going on where the radio were playing because the Nebraska football games. All that's all you heard. You walk into a place like a food, well, like at the food show too. The Nebraska people were playing their radios. Farmers market, they were playing their radios. Flea markets, they were playing their radios. Some just gathered in a parking lot because they couldn't make it to Lincoln, and every radio was turned on to there. So I thought that was kind of neat how they do that. I don't know other than Iowa City if people for Iowa are doing that.
When I lived at and worked in Anamosa, Iowa on Saturdays, if you went to a garage sale or you went in a store or any place, and in Mechanicsville, Iowa, where I grew up, the grocery store, the radios would be blaring with football, Iowa football, or basketball if it was a Saturday night or Saturday. So.
Yeah. The men's team has reported, so has the women's team, I believe, all except for Ellie Strumlow or Strumbo. She's
Strumdahl.
playing. Yeah,
Strumdahl.
she's playing with the Swiss national team right now. It's not available until later in the summer.
And they kind of finished the floor, I think, over the weekend. Now they got to let it. Do they have to let it dry or something?
I think so. I think they have to let it cure or something.
I think by the 15th of June, they're going to be able to practice on it and stuff.
Yeah. Vandy says no. CC defense isn't that good with a question mark. That can't be true. You think he's being sarcastic?
Yeah. It's like when I say Vandy had a great defense against Iowa, I'm being sarcastic. Okay. In the bowl game.
So. All righty. Okay, Toll House says I went to a shoe store in Grand Island. I've been to Grand Island when there used to be an Albertsons there. I went to help them get their store on track because they were just the people that were running that store just totally messed that store up, and they brought in some of us good people who knew what to do to help get that store back in shape. It goes, I went into a shoe store in Grand Island and all the salesmen were in the back room watching Nebraska on TV. Yeah. You know what we did when I worked for Eagles in Cedar Falls? We talked our store manager, who had no interest in sports, allowing us to. We had a big radio thing that the night crew used to play music, and she allowed us to put the Iowa games over the radio. And we said, yeah, it'll bring more customers in because if they know they're playing the game, they're not going to miss much. We just convinced her, hey, right now we're not during the game. Nobody's going to come in. But if they know we're going to play it on the radio, they'll come in because they'll hear what's going on. But yeah, I believe that totally. And it actually started out, that was really funny story is it really started out where the guys in the meat department had the radios on in the meat department. And all of us guys would, every time we could get away from the front end, away from customers, we'd run to the meat department. What's going on with the game? What's going on with the game? And so that's when me and my friend Daryl, who was in my wedding, who also worked for Eagles with me at the same time, we were the ones that went and convinced the manager to put the game over the loudspeaker so we could listen to it. Oh. Okay. Okay, Rick says, and I got to take it back, he doesn't have any inside information, but he has some things he's noticed that he wants to bring up.
Okay.
Okay. All righty. I'm sorry, Rick. I misread that thing. Mm-hmm. Vandy says, I do have inside information, but I suspect the Vandy guards will have fun playing Iowa, and nobody can accuse Vandy of ducking anyone after Iowa. We play Notre Dame in Nashville. Yeah, well, Iowa plays also before or after Vandy. They play UConn, so they're not ducking anybody either.
And we're playing UConn on their home floor, not in Nashville. So, we are. The one thing I love about Vanderbilt is we can always.
Isn't Vanderbilt in Nashville?
I know we're playing a road game. They're playing a home game.
Oh, okay.
He said they're playing Notre Dame in Nashville. I listened to what he said.
That's what I said. Oh, yeah.
But anyway, well, I wonder out there, people listening, did you guys watch Iowa Day on the Big Ten Network all day? I had a chance to watch the Florida game 3 times. I watched it twice, but not the third time was like at 1 o'clock in the morning.
I don't understand is why they put it on 3 times. It's the only game they repeated.
It's the biggest win Iowa's had in basketball in the NCAA tournament against the number 1 seed since we went to the Final Four. I think Georgetown was the number 1 seed in the East the year that Ronnie Lester and Vince Brookins and Luke beat them. But that's why, and they put it on 3 times and it was all spread out. So if you missed it once, you get to see it again. And there's things. I was so juiced and nervous for that game. I'm kind of a laid back guy, but I literally stood in front of the TV and watched it when it was on live. And then me and Dean went live afterwards. We were so excited. There was so much that I forgot about that game.
Was it after the Florida game or after the Nebraska Sweet 16 victory?
Oh, that was the Nebraska. That was the Nebraska game that we went live. You're right.
Yeah.
But the Florida game was such a bigger win.
It was. It really was. Yeah.
Oh my God. I didn't know Tavian Banks I didn't remember he had that great at 17 points in the first half and 24 points. Couldn't hit a free throw. You know, 5 out of 10 from the line. I thought, oh my God, Tavian.
Oh
We
my
thought
God!
you were gonna break Chris Street's record. Now
That's what I was gonna say.
now you're shooting like Hannah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is this guy couldn't hit the broadside of a barn after he missed his free throw attempt to tie the game,
And
tie the free throw record held by Jordan and Chris.
I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. I love Alvaro Folgueras. Whenever he comes back to Iowa City, maybe in years to come, I'm sure he will. Like to have a reunion of the Elite Eight team. I think the fans will just go crazy because boy was he something. Yeah. Both them games. So.
Okay, now I don't know how many people rewatched the Chris Street story, but man, I mean, I had seen it when it was on the first time originally. Of course, it got edited because it said Fran McCaffrey was coached until 2025. Well, when he was he was still the coach at Iowa when it originally was done.
I know, but that's the only little dinky part that they voiced over or whatever. The everything they showed was the same, the exact same film. But I cry every time. God, when Jeff Settles, when Jeff Settles is on there, and he says, Tom Davis will tell you he didn't have any favorites, but just says Chris Street was Tom Davis's favorite. I just cry every time I see that. It's like, yeah, I know he was everybody's favorite.
I was crying too a little bit. I mean, how can you not? And then to see his girlfriend on there, talking about how she didn't look. From the pictures they showed, she didn't look like she got mangled up too much.
She just separated her shoulder. She broke her collarbone.
Yeah.
And I mean, Chris didn't have his seatbelt. Chris didn't have his seatbelt on, and I don't even want to go on into. His door came open. The car rolled over on his head. So
yeah, I didn't really know the details, but I just
figured I feel sorry for the guy driving the plow. He
wasn't even at fault. There's nothing he could have done to avoid that accident.
No, he kind of said I convinced myself that I wasn't speeding. But even if he was going 5 miles or 10 miles over the speed limit, hell, we all do, But you could tell how it ate at him for the last 30 years. Yeah. So.
Okay, so Vandy says Vandy ended up pulling in Evan by Takatel, or however you spell his name, from Nebraska. Okay, yeah. Vandy says, I love Chris. Met him in the state tournament in Des Moines at the old barn when he was a freshman in high school. I got to tell you, watching the tournament in the barn, high school basketball tournament, was so much more fun than watching it in Wells Fargo or now Casey Center. Because I had the privilege of watching them both there because when we lived in Des Moines, I was always going to especially the girls tournament. I really enjoyed the girls tournament more than the men or the boys.
Yeah. I really, when I was growing up, and right up until I was probably in my 30s, I watched state tournament all the time. But now I only tune into really see some big recruit if they're playing anymore. I watch every state football playoff game all through the playoffs I can because I'm always out there looking for the next recruit. I can remember when I tuned in and I messaged Jason. We were watching Rock Valley or whatever they're called, and I seen these guys were like juniors and sophomores playing, and the defensive backfield was Lutmer, Vanderzee, and Eben. And I texted Jason. I said, "You see the secondary for that team? They're all underclassmen." and they're all big guys. Vanderzee looked like he was 6'6". He's actually 6'4" or whatever. Everything. That's what I do. I'm always trying to scout, and I never had. And I knew Lutmer was going to probably come to Iowa, but I had no idea that the other two would come to Iowa. I didn't know they were good enough. But
there you go.
Eben came as a preferred walk-on, and then when they cut the rosters down, they made him leave. I think he's up at one of the South Dakota State or North Dakota or someplace. But,
yeah. Toll House says, I lived in Indianola when Chris Street passed away. Very emotional.
He was from when he was a freshman in high school. I think he played for Humston, didn't he?
Yeah, he played. Then he moved to Indianola. Yeah, he moved to Indianola for his sophomore season.
He was a hell of a 6'9" quarterback. I mean, he was good enough to be a quarterback. Great passer and tough guy. At Indianola. But
I thought he said he played baseball too. I thought they said he played baseball.
Probably. Yeah, I think he pitched. But he was an all-around athlete. Great guy, great kid, of course. But.
Okay. Vandy says nothing like being in the barn. Yep, I agree with you. The old Iowa map with all the lights on it, and they would turn them off as you got eliminated. Yep.
On the farm, there was nothing like being in the barn or behind the barn with a good-looking girl either.
Well, yeah, but you got some stories.
I don't. I have zero stories. I was so bashful growing up; it was ridiculous.
Yeah. Toll House says I missed the girls' 6-on-6 game, and they never missed a free throw. God, I mean, we're all old enough here that most of us saw the 6-on-6 game, but honestly, I thought it was kind of boring. Unless, of course, it was Waterloo, Columbus, and Molly Tideback scoring 50 points a game. Then it was exciting.
Jan Jensen averaging 66 points a game. But yeah, they didn't miss a free throw because they weren't even sweating. You ever play we played 6-on-6. They had the boys play 6-on-6 in gym class when I was growing up to just show us what it was like to only take 2 dribbles, and it was all about passing and movement and shooting. And hell, you could play 6-on-6 for the whole gym class, and you weren't even out of breath because you didn't do anything.
All righty. Vandy Chris says I was at the Lynn Lorenzen 105-point game. Okay.
Lynn Lorenzen was up in northern Iowa. She was a Vicette. What was her school? I can't remember.
I thought she was.
She went to Iowa State, I think, but was nothing great in college.
Yeah. So, by the way, Vandy Chris says you weren't wrong about being behind the barn.
Yeah.
Ventura High School.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ventura Vicats. Lady Vicats.
Yeah. I moved to Hubbard to manage a grocery store in Hubbard, Iowa in 2014. And I quickly learned about the history of Hubbard women's basketball. They won the last state 6-on-6 tournament with I can't think of what her first name was, but it was Brinkmeyer was the star of that team. So yeah, and so we got to meet her before she did eventually pass away. Don't know from what, but if you guys remember right, she was always on the state tournament shows as an announcer.
The stars in Iowa high school girls basketball, when it was 6-on-6 when I was growing up, they were always bigger stars than any of the boys basketball players. Everybody knew who Debbie Coates was, and Joyce Elder, and Julie Goodrich, and Debbie Esser, and all them players were like Debbie Coates. They were all just huge stars all over the state. Then when they'd leave high school, you never heard of them again because a lot of them There wasn't much college basketball going on, unfortunately, except at Drake and Creighton.
All right. So I got some more to read here. Okay. Toll House says, I know 6-on-6 is old fashioned, but I did enjoy it, and I remember Molly. Yeah, Molly was a fixture on this show during the women's basketball season, not this year, but the previous season. And then she got real busy, and then I think she ended up having an ACL injury and was laid up for a while. And I eventually found out why she didn't want to do the show anymore. However, if the team is more to her liking this year, she might come back on. But yeah, Molly is a good person. I really enjoyed her insight on the games. We used to do it after every game, and she would just, kind of like on Corey Breda's show with what's her name, the girl that used to be.
Christine Alexander.
Yeah, where she kind of helps him analyze the game, analysis of the game. That's what Molly would do for this, and people liked her when she was on the show, and I hope to get her back. But I do have a one-on-one interview with her that if you guys really want to go back and find it, we talk about her past and everything at Columbus and her why she went to UCLA and then left UCLA for Iowa.
Yeah, did she play both styles of Iowa basketball?
Yes, she did.
6 and then 5-on-5, right?
Yeah, they went to the state. Yeah, they went to the state tournament and were runner up at 6-on-6 her freshman year. And then the following year they switched to 5-on-5.
Yeah, she was an unstoppable force.
Yeah, and that game that they lost in the state tournament, that championship game, I think she scored like 54 points or something. There's actually a YouTube video out there, but the quality's bad. But I did watch every minute of that game.
Yeah. There was a lot of good girls basketball players in the state back at that time. Yeah. And it seemed like there was more good big girls than there is today. Katie Abrahamson and Lisa Becker and Molly Tidebeck and Amy Herrig and
Jen Jansen.
Yeah.
Jan Jansen. I put her name wrong. Okay.
Lori Bauman was probably the best combination other than Caitlin. Lori Bauman was probably the greatest high school player that transitioned into college. Lori went to Drake, and literally in college playing 5-on-5, she'd average like 70%, 77% free throw. Field goal percentage. She was just ridiculous, Wasn't no pro league, But.
All right, let me read some of these other things. Vandy says Denison High School was the first school in Iowa to play 5-on-5 sanctioned game when they played at Omaha Roncalli in November of '85. Cedar Rapids, Vandy also says Cedar Rapids schools may have played some prior to that, but I don't think they were sanctioned by the Iowa High School Association. Toll House mentions Denise Long. I guess you didn't mention her.
No, she was the one that set the scoring record. Union Witten, I think, was where she was from.
Yeah. Hink says the men basketball team has reported to summer workouts. Yep, and I'm anxious to see how that goes. All the
players. Is today June 5th or was it yesterday?
Yesterday. Today's June 7th.
Okay, June 5th is when all athletes were supposed to report back to campus. So
yeah.
By the way, I seen a picture on Instagram where Lutmer and his girl were popping they were pictured at a lake, and he was a picnic type thing, beautiful, and he was popping a big bottle of champagne, and I don't know if that means that Mr. Lutmer got engaged or not, but it didn't say.
Hank wants to know if that's also for football as well.
What?
For the summer workouts. We know that
June,
that date that you mentioned is for both men and women basketball, and I know the football team is supposed to be reporting pretty soon. So I don't know if it's that exact date, but they are getting ready to do summer workouts.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, Hink wants you to know that Lutmer is engaged, so you got it right.
Also when 5-on-5 and 6-on-6 girls started up, they had the state tournament. They had a state tournament. There was 5-on-5 and 6-on-6 both. The big schools like Des Moines and Cedar Rapids and stuff like that, they all went to 5-on-5. They had two. Two separate there for a little bit. You know?
They did, they did. Yeah, which is why Waterloo Columbus was forced to switch to 5-on-5 because all the Waterloo schools did at that time.
And it's a good thing. I mean, 6-on-6 was not basketball. You know?
Yeah. Okay. Vandy says Pam Johnson was All-State at 6'2" from Denison in 1987 and went to Drake. She is coaching AAU ball in Oklahoma City. Wow. She's got to be old. I mean, I'm old. Okay.
Did we say on the last podcast that John Johnson's boys coaching the Spurs?
Yes, you did.
Okay. I didn't remember whether we said that or not. That is so cool. You know, I know he's down 2 games, but President, did you know the president's going to be at the game?
Which game?
The NBA game in New York. The next one. Is that tomorrow night?
I don't know.
People are trying to figure out. He's from New York. He must maybe a big Knicks fan, but I said he ought to be a big Spurs fan.
They call him the Knicks.
My theory is he should be a big Spurs fan because the Spurs is what kept him out of the Vietnam War.
Okay, Rick says that Lori Bauman, the first woman in NCAA to reach 3,000 point score. Here's one. Hink says, is the 5-for-5 rule going to take place?
Yep.
Now, it is going to take place for sure because
they're just not going to announce it. They're not going to announce it until they get right up and probably in the start of the season. So they don't want to announce it too soon because then all these players that are going to the NFL now and going to the NBA, they want the NBA draft to get over and they sign contracts, so they can't come back. They want to put it off till that year, so.
Well, I thought that was included in the bill that Congress just threw out the window.
They threw that bill out the window because Ted Cruz let the Big 12 write it. I know.
He did. I know.
He's a Texas Tech guy, and he actually sat down with the athletic director at Texas Tech and wrote the bill. It was like, only one transfer. Well, that's stupid. Kids should be able to go wherever they want to school. And then the Big Ten and the SEC have to share their TV money with the Big 12 and the ACC and other conferences.
Okay.
It's crazy,
All right. Vandy says, I believe 1987 was the first ever 5-on-5 state championship in Iowa. Is that correct, Calvin?
I have no clue. So, I know the first year, I don't know. Molly Tideback would know because she was in high school. So, did you say Molly was the first
year that women's 5-on-5 basketball tournament took place?
All you'd have to do is Google Molly Tideback. Her freshman year was 6-on-6. Her sophomore year was 5-on-5.
Here, let me do this real quick because you interrupted me. Okay.
Always do.
What is the first year that girls' high school state championship took place for 5-on-5?
In Iowa.
Iowa crowned its first full court 5-on-5 state champion in 1993. Other states did it sooner. 93 seems like a little late to me.
That's not maybe that's when everybody went to 5-on-5, but that's not true.
Okay.
I don't think. Now, Molly tied back. Well, Molly played at Iowa. Was her first year at UCLA 1990?
Yes. I mean,
if you just Googled, if you said Molly Tideback and clicked on her, and it would tell you she only played 1 year of 6-on-6. It would tell you what year she came to UCLA, and then you just go back 4 years, and that was the last year of 6-on-6 for big schools. Anyway, but
all right. Let me read some of these other things. Okay. Hink says so. Cam and Combs are going to be invited to come back. I believe they will have a shot at coming back if they so choose to.
Yeah, they will.
Okay. The bill has not been thrown. Vandy says the bill has not been thrown out the window. It is going to pass, whether the Big Ten and SEC fans like it or not. Okay.
All I know is the yesterday it was announced the Congress announced that it's DOA.
Yeah.
Dead on arrival, if you follow the news.
Yeah. Okay, Hink says, are you going to have Molly tied back on the show this year? I saw that she wasn't on last season. I liked your post-game shows. Thank you, Hink. I appreciate that. I'm working to get Molly back. I'm going to let Molly tell you the real reason why she wasn't on the show this season, and I did talk to her a little bit about it. And she did open up to me the real reason why she couldn't be on the show. Didn't have anything to do with me or anybody else.
No.
But I'm hoping that she likes this new team with the new girls on it and everything, that she'll be able to come back. And I don't know if Molly, if you're listening, I doubt if you are. Please, you're seeing that people want you back on this show.
We had a good team last year.
Yeah.
Was it 25 or 27 win? 25?
27. Okay. It should have been at least 28. Okay.
Well,
the first 5-on-8 state championship game in Iowa was played in 1985. During that tournament, Lynn Marr defeated Cedar Rapids, Washington to claim the inaugural players title, 5-player title. Yeah. Okay. Rick says Molly Goodbauer, Waterloo West, Stanford 3-time NCAA tournaments, won MVP 1992. Yeah, I think she was just ahead of Molly Tideback or right after her. Okay. Okay. Vandy says for 9 seasons, the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Association allowed schools to choose their format and sanction separate tournaments for both 6-on-6 and 5-on-5. Yeah, I knew that. There was simultaneous tournaments going on at the same time. Like I said, I don't know what year it was, but Hubbard, the Hubbard school won the last 6-on-6 tournament ever played in the state. And I don't know what that year. I want to say somewhere in the 90s. Okay. Toll House says, come back, Molly. Yes, Molly. We all want you back. All right. I mean, this show has gone on 2 hours and 23 minutes. We should probably call it good. And then we'll look forward to Wednesday night. We'll get to talk more women's basketball with Rick. Rick will be on here on Wednesday night. Rick, you're not allowed to back out this time. You got to be on the show. I don't care if the police are next door beating down your neighbors. That's a joke. I mean, that's in our text messages if you saw that tonight.
And Dean can't back out either.
Not unless I get sick. Yeah.
I don't think I've missed one, but
yeah.
It's gonna happen someday. So
I like Wednesdays, but the Hawkaholics always like me to be on their show, which is always Wednesday. I'm going to try to get them to move their show when they start back up again in July to move their show to another day.
I like Wednesday a hell of a lot better than Tuesdays.
Me too.
Doesn't make any sense having one on Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, I moved my show for them so that I could be on their show too, because I knew I couldn't do 2 shows at the same time. So I moved it in favor of them, but I'm going to try to make them move their show this year.
And
You guys hear that? If you guys are listening, Brandon and Brad, we need to
and
change that.
and this show is priority, Dean.
Yes,
This
it
is
is.
the Dean. This is the Dean Crean show. You pronounce your name Crean or Crine?
Oh, Frine. Okay.
Crine. This is
Vandy
the
says that.
Dean Crine show.
Yeah. Vandy says that he thought the Hawkaholics were done. I'm good friends with Brad. The last I heard, he retired, and that might be. That might be because they didn't have very many episodes last year because Brad is in a new position with this company and he had very little time to devote to the show.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to be the second co-host of that show, but Brandon would never do the show without Brad.
Yeah, me and Dean are way too young to retire.
Okay, here we go. The Golden Broom broadcast says we will be having Iowa baseball head coach Rick Heller on for a recorded interview in July. Yeah, guys, the Golden on the villain. We are part of the Villains Network, as is the Hawkaholics, if they're still around. The Golden Broom podcast, run by Vandy Chris and Terry Walker. They do a great college baseball show, and they got Rick Heller to come on to the show. And I also want to give hats off to Terry because Terry's working with me to get some other people for us to interview on the show. And they got us Stacy May Johnson for the softball coach to come on the show. So he worked on that one.
Has she lost any players in the portal, or
I haven't seen any. I've been
opening? Iowa lost baseball. I think baseball lost 3 so far.
Yeah,
I think. But Olivo, the good young pitcher, I think his name's Olivo or something. He announced he's coming back, so that's good. So
yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to pump up his show, the Golden Broom podcast. So I'm sure he'll put that out all over the place on social media when they have the exact date that they're going to do that show.
I wish somebody would give Rick what he wants. The inside guy that's on the On3 thread, he don't tell you what his name is. He's got some weird thing. But he said Rick Heller would just love it if somebody just give him $400,000 for, extra NIL, and he could compete, right up in the Big Ten and kind of get to the NCAA tournament most years. If he just had 400,000 in today's sports where these football teams are spending over 50 million, you'd think some do-gooder in Iowa could give Rick 400,000 a year, but anyway,
Okay,
I wish somebody, if there's anybody out there, anybody out there that's listening, if you can help Rick out a little bit, I would sure appreciate it. He's the best. He's as good a coach as there is. There ain't no doubt about it.
Hank wants to know if we'll do a post game shows for the men's basketball.
We always
last year, no, not this last season. We just kind of like lumped them together. We let a couple shows go, and then we would do them, and then we would preview the next shows.
The secret is that Dean thought that we should really focus more on women, that he thought that was more popular. But I think from now on, the men are going to be the most popular, is my prediction.
I get it. Mm-hmm. The last time we did post game shows, Fran was still the coach, and before, Jan Jensen was coach of her first year. I want to do post game shows for both this time. Mm-hmm. However, it depends on how many games they're going to do, because I can't be on every night of the week. And that's great that Corey can do that, and his wife must be a really understanding person, that sometimes he's on 6 or 7 nights a week because of all the games that are being played.
Maybe he ain't married.
I think Corey's married.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know
Hank would
nothing
know.
about him.
Hank,
Except
is Corey married? I think he's
he's from
married.
Marshalltown. I know that, just like Kluver.
I thought he lived in Ames.
He does, but they grew up, went to high school together in Marshalltown.
Oh, that's right. That is correct. You are correct. Yeah, he is married. Yeah, he is married. Okay. Thank you for showing that.
Are we winding down then, Dean, or we got more questions? Or we got more questions, don't we?
Yeah. He lives in Ames now. He's married. I'd rather listen to men's post game shows. That's just my opinion. Yeah, let's work on that. Let's do that this year. I'm gonna see what we can do. I mean, because got to remember too, guys. Though when we do the post game shows live, we're up against Corey, and Corey's very much more popular than I will ever probably be. I would love to be as popular as Corey's show is, but yeah, and so I would love to have my listeners live with me. Although I know you guys would be faithful and watch it or listen to it when it's on playback, but
it don't matter if people are on live, with us. We get most of our viewers, when we share it. So
yeah, okay.
And I agree with you. I don't want to do a post game on every game. I mean, Iowa men. We did a one on the women the night before, and Iowa men blow out Eastern Illinois. Well, we don't have to come on after every game. I agree with you.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll definitely do a post game
together, and we do a post game on both of them or something.
Yeah. I definitely want to get Molly on here for the post games for the women. And so I'm working on that, guys. I've already sent her a couple text messages, and she just gave me thumbs up back. She didn't really write anything back, but I know that she's right now. I think she's into softball for her team right now, or soccer. She coaches soccer and high school soccer and high school softball.
Maybe you can get that. Maybe you can get that Calvin Fisher guy on too. So.
Oh yeah, we're getting ready to leave the show. I wanted to. Where is Here we go. Sunday, July 26th will be the Heller interview. It will be recorded at 9 a.m. and will air at 6 p.m. Which it's probably Central because where he lives in Tennessee, he's Central Time, so that's probably Central Time. Okay, guys, write that down now. I'm going to leave it up there so when it comes up there, people will see it. But guys, it's been fun. It's been real. I appreciate you guys. I think we were up to like 29 listeners or followers at one time on here. I mean, viewers.
The last one we did when we signed off, and I went and clicked on it to share it out. I think we were at 89 or something that viewed it before I shared it. So that was a good number to start with.
Yeah.
And then we get up to around 400, usually minimal. Is our minimum,
Cool. All right. Okay, Hank, have a great night too. We'll see you guys on Wednesday night.
Peace out.
Peace out, and I hope you guys enjoyed this show. Don't forget to hit the sub button right there in front of you before you leave. Hit the like button. Definitely hit the like button. That really helps a lot more.
Share
it out. Let's get it. We had a run there for a while while we were getting well over 1,000 views. Let's see if you guys can help me share it and get it out to 1,000 views again.
Yeah, that was the Ben McCullum boost.
Yeah,
you go to the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, and then all of a sudden, what? 1,800 views? Are you kidding me? So,
all righty, guys, we're out.
Yep.
Take care. We love you all. Thank you for watching.